I smooth the front of my navy dress, the one I spent 3 months saving for Anne, take a deep breath before entering the grand foyer of Riverstone Manor. Madison's wedding venue is exactly what she always wanted. Marble floors that gleam like mirrors, crystal chandeliers catching the late afternoon sunlight, and floral arrangements so perfect they barely look real. White roses and pale pink peonies cascade from pedestals placed at precise intervals, their subtle fragrance mingling with expensive perfume. A string quartet plays softly in the corner, the familiar notes of Pachelbel's canon floating through the air, as guests in designer outfits mingle and laugh. This is Madison's moment, her perfect day. Despite our differences, I've been looking forward to witnessing it. Beautiful, isn't it? An older woman comments as she passes, diamond earrings catching the light. I nod and smile. Breathtaking. The seating chart display stands near the entrance to the ballroom, an elegant affair, with calligraphy on cream cardstock, framed in ornate silver. Guests cluster around it, finding their names and table numbers with pleased murmurs. I hang back until there's a clearing, then step forward, my finger tracing down the family tables first. Table 1. Mother and Father Carson, Madison's godparents, Uncle Robert and Aunt Grace. Table 2. Grandparents, Ryan and his wife, cousins from Dad's side. I frown, scanning again. Perhaps I missed it. My finger moves more deliberately now, checking each name at tables 3 and 4, where extended family is seated. My name isn't there. I check again, my heart beating faster. Then I scan every table listed, eyes darting across all 14 arrangements. My name simply doesn't exist on any of them. Can I help you find your seat? I turn to see a wedding coordinator in a sleek black dress, clipboard in hand, and sympathy already forming in her eyes. She's seen this before, the confused guest, the awkward moment. I'm Natalie Carson, I say, the bride's sister. Something flickers across her face, discomfort, perhaps recognition. Ah, yes, Miss Carson. She hesitates, then gestures toward the hallway. You're at table 15. I follow her gesture and spotted a small round table positioned near the coat check, just outside the main ballroom. It stands alone like an afterthought, partially obscured by a decorative column. There must be some mistake, I say, my voice sounding distant to my own ears. I'm Madison's sister. The coordinator's smile turns brittle. I'm sorry, but this is the arrangement I was given. She lowers her voice, specifically approved by the bride. Heat floods my face, rising from my chest to my hairline in a wave I can't control. The room suddenly feels too warm, too crowded. I'm aware of eyes on Memmy cousin Bethany, whispering to her husband, an aunt from Ohio, watching with undisguised curiosity. My stomach twists as though I've been physically struck. 29 years of being the forgotten middle child, the one whose accomplishments were acknowledged with distracted nods, while Madison's smallest achievements warranted celebration, and yet this still blindsides me. I remember Thanksgiving just 6 months ago, Madison glowing as she announced her engagement, the antique diamond sparkling on her finger. How I'd hugged her afterward, genuinely happy for her, despite our complicated relationship. I'd love to help with the planning, I'd offered. Just let me know what you need. Thanks, Nat, she'd said with that dismissive smile. But Denise? That's Blake's mom. She's got connections with all the best vendors. And Mom's been dreaming of this day forever. More memories surface. Mom and Madison poring over bridal magazines when I visited at Christmas, their conversation stopping when I entered the room. The group texts about bridesmaids' dresses that somehow never included me. The way Dad changed the subject when I asked about wedding details over the phone. I'd told myself I was imagining the distance, that moving to Oregon for my teaching job had naturally created some separation, that family connections sometimes need time to adjust. I was wrong. My first impulse is what it's always been, to accept this slight with grace, to take my seat at the isolated table, to keep the peace at my own expense, to be the Natalie everyone expects, accommodating, understanding, invisible. But something shifts inside me, a tectonic plate moving after years of pressure. This isn't just about a seating chart. This is about a lifetime of being overlooked, of my needs and feelings being secondary, to everyone else's convenience. I straightened my spine, feeling a strange calm replace the initial shock. Some family ties aren't meant to bind, they're meant to break. The realization settles over me with surprising clarity. Across the foyer, I spot the mom in her mother of the bride finery, Madison radiant in a white robe, saving the dress reveal for later, of course, both laughing with an elegant older woman who must be Denise, Blake's mother. They stare the entrance to the bridal suite, champagne flutes in hand, perfectly at ease. My feet begin moving toward them before my mind fully forms the decision. Each step feels deliberate, purposeful. Have you ever wondered what happens when a person who's been invisible their whole life suddenly decides to be seen? Madison's perfect day was about to show exactly that. My feet carry me across the marble floor with purpose, each step echoing against the polished stone. Madison stands in a circle of admiration her mother, 3 bridesmaids in matching silk robes, and Denise all gathered around her like planets orbiting a sun. Their laughter cuts off abruptly as I approach. "Oh, Natalie," Madison's voice rises half an octave, that artificial brightness I've known since childhood. "Don't you look nice?" Her eyes flick over my carefully chosen navy dress, the one I wore to my master's graduation event. She skipped because her college roommate was having a housewarming party the same weekend. I feel the familiar sting, then push it aside. "Thank you," I reply, my voice steadier than expected. I'm a bit confused about the seating arrangements. Mom immediately steps forward, champagne flute still in hand. "Not now, Natalie. It's Madison's special day." The dismissive wave of her hand is so practiced, I wonder if she's even aware she's doing it. I notice the bridesmaids exchange glances. One of them, Jessica, I think takes a small step backward, as if removing herself from whatever is about to happen. A few guests linger nearby, their attention caught by our little tableau. I understand it's a special day, I continue, focusing on Madison. That's why I'm surprised to find myself seated at a table by the coat check, outside the ballroom. Madison's perfect smile falters, then reassembles itself. "We had to prioritize close family at the main tables," she says, her voice carrying just enough for the growing audience to hear. "I am close family." The words come out simple, factual. Something shifts in Madison's eyes, a calculation. A decision. "You're not really immediate family anymore, Natalie." She straightens her silk robe, embroidered bride, catching the light. "You moved away, you barely visit, and honestly, we're just in different places now." The blow lands with precision. In one sentence, she's rewritten our entire history, 29 years of shared bathrooms, Christmas mornings, and family vacations erased, because I dared to build a life that didn't revolve around Cedar Falls, Iowa. Mom steps closer to Madison, a united front. "Natalie, please, today isn't about seating charts. It's about celebrating your sister's happiness." Which is exactly why I came, I counter, surprised at the clarity in my voice. Denise chooses this moment to drift into our circle, her tailored pantsuit and pearl earrings radiating old money confidence. She looks me up and down with barely concealed amusement. "Oh, so you're the one with that special seat." Her predatory smile doesn't reach her eyes. Weddings really do show who matters most in a family, don't they? The realization washes over me like ice water. This wasn't oversight or thoughtlessness, this was deliberate. The quick glance between Madison and Denise confirms it. They planned this humiliation together, probably over lunch at that country club Madison mentioned in her texts last month. From the corner of my eye, I notice movement. Daniel, Madison's fiancé, has paused mid-conversation with his groomsmen, his attention caught by our group. His brow furrows slightly as he watches the interaction unfold. "Natalie." Dad's voice carries across the marble as he approaches, sensing tension but clearly unaware of its source. He's always been like this, arriving after the emotional damage is done, puzzled by the aftermath. Across the room, I catch the eye of our cousin Rebecca, 15 years older and the family truth teller. She gives me a subtle nod of understanding. I'm not imagining this. I'm not overreacting. A camera shutter clicks nearby, the wedding photographer capturing candid pre-ceremony moments, unaware she's documenting something far more revealing than champagne toasts. Just accept your seat and don't make a scene. Madison hisses, voice low enough that only I can hear. The mask has slipped completely now, revealing the calculation beneath. Mom leans in from the other side. Your father and I are very disappointed in how you're behaving. Family dynamics can be so revealing, can't they? Denise adds, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. Her smug satisfaction reminds me of cats I've seen toying with wounded birds. The wedding coordinator hovers at the edge of our group, anxiously checking her watch. The ceremony is scheduled to begin in 30 minutes, and this confrontation wasn't on her timeline. I take a deep breath, feeling something settle inside me. Not anger exactly, but clarity. I came here hoping to celebrate my sister, I say, voice steady despite the tears I feel welling. Now I'm just hoping to understand when I became less than family. I blink the tears back, refusing to let them fall. Madison shifts her weight, suddenly looking less sure of herself. My words hang in the air, resonating with a truth that makes her uncomfortable. Daniel steps closer to Madison now, his expression questioning. He places a hand on her silk-covered elbow, a gesture that's both support and inquiry. Is everything okay? He asks, though his eyes suggest he already knows the answer is no. Then I remember the text evidence I wasn't planning to use today. Last month, Madison had called me after a particularly stressful meeting with Denise about the wedding. Madison, I say, watching her face carefully. Remember our conversation last month about Denise? I believe your exact words were, Madison's eyes widen, all color draining from her face. She knows exactly what she said, a 15-minute rant about Denise's controlling nature, her inappropriate comments about Daniel's career choices, and her determination to make the wedding a showcase for her country club friends rather than a celebration of the couple. In this moment, I have a choice. I can repeat those words and watch the carefully constructed facade crumble. Or I can walk away with my dignity intact but my truth unspoken. The champagne in Mom's glass trembles slightly. Dad steps closer, confusion evident on his face. Daniel's attention is fully on us now, his gaze moving between Madison's suddenly panicked expression and my composed one. Denise narrows her eyes, sensing a shift in power she doesn't understand. I make my decision, straightening my spine as years of accommodating everyone else's comfort at the expense of my own falls away. Sometimes, truth is the kindest form of revenge. Madison, I think Denise would be very interested to hear what you told me about her wedding takeover. My voice is calm but carries just enough to ensure Denise catches every word, especially the part about her speech. Mother's fingers dig into my forearm as she pulls me behind a massive floral arrangement. Her pearls gleam under the chandelier light, a stark contrast to the fury darkening her face. You will apologize to your sister and take your assigned seat, she hisses, voice tight with controlled anger. The familiar tone one I've heard all my life, when I've dared step out of my designated role. Madison has been planning this day since she was 16, and I won't allow you to create a spectacle. Over Mother's shoulder, I catch Denise gathering Blake's aunts around her like a general assembling troops. She points in my direction with subtle precision, her perfectly coiffed silver hair catching the light as she leans in to whisper something that makes the women glance my way with practiced concern. Meanwhile, Madison has positioned herself perfectly within view of the most guests, dabbing at the corner of her eye with a monogrammed handkerchief. No actual tears fall, she's too careful for that, but the performance is enough. The controlled distress of a bride whose special day is being threatened. 15 minutes until the ceremony begins, the wedding coordinator announces, her voice carrying across the foyer with professional brightness that doesn't match her worried expression. I take a deep breath and find my voice come steadier than expected. I don't believe I'm the one who should apologize. Mother's eyes widen just slightly at my response. In 30 years, she's rarely heard this tone from me. The peacemaker, the one who steps aside, the one who accommodates. A flash of memory. My apartment moved to Oregon 3 years ago. Boxes stacked in my small rental car because no one offered to help. My phone call that night to share I'd arrived safely met with distracted responses, and Madison interrupting to discuss her promotion. Another memory surfaces. The state teaching award I received last spring. The ceremony I attended alone, watching other recipients celebrate with proud families. The congratulatory text I sent to the family group chat that received thumbed-up reactions but no actual responses. The quiet dinner I made myself that night, opening a bottle of wine to toast my own accomplishment. This isn't appropriate, Mother continues, lowering her voice as a couple passes. People are watching, Natalie. They certainly are, I agree, feeling a strange calm settle over me, and they're seeing exactly what this family is. I straighten my shoulders, a physical manifestation of the internal shift I feel, the strength that comes from building a life without their approval, a quiet confidence I've never fully claimed until now. Mother's face tightens. Your father and I are very disappointed. In me, I finish for her, for expecting to be treated as family, or in Madison for deliberately excluding me. Before she can answer, I step away and walk with deliberate steps back toward where Madison stands with Denise. I choose my moment carefully when other guests are nearby, when retreating would make more of a scene than continuing. Denise, I say with a warm smile that doesn't quite reach my eyes. Madison was just saying the other day how stressed she was about seating arrangements. Madison freezes, champagne flute halfway to her lips. Denise's eyebrows lift slightly with interest. Oh? Denise tilts her head, the large diamond earrings catching the light. She seemed quite certain about everything when we reviewed the charts. I nod sympathetically. Planning is such a challenge, especially with so many important people to consider. The careful delivery maintains plausible deniability could be attempting to smooth things over, or I could be setting something in motion. The beauty lies in the balance. From the corner of my eye, I see Daniel approaching, concern etched across his features as he notices his bride's distress. My father finally appears as well, confusion evident in the furrow of his brow as he senses the undercurrent of tension. Across the room, Mrs. Thompson, me grandmother's oldest friend, catches my eye and offers a subtle nod. I'd helped her daughter find a teaching position last year. The wedding photographer moves unobtrusively around us, capturing candid moments that will tell a story beyond the posed portraits. She was particularly worried, I continue, voice gentle but carrying just enough, about certain people making speeches and turning the whole reception into being about themselves. Denise's expression shifts like storm clouds gathering. The smugness that had played at the corners of her mouth vanishes, replaced by something sharper, more suspicious. What exactly do you mean by that? She asks, her voice dropping an octave. Madison steps forward, fingers clenching her champagne flute. Natalie, this isn't the time. Madison. Daniel interrupts, his voice carrying that particular note men use when they've just realized something important. Did you really say that? The air between us changes. Madison's panic is palpable, a living thing that colors her cheeks and widens her eyes. I feel something shift inside me, physical, almost, like straightening after carrying a heavy load for miles. The weight of years of dismissal lifting from my shoulders, allowing me to stand at my full height. For the first time in 30 years, I'm not invisible anymore. In the moment of chaos that follows Madison stumbling through denials, Denise's narrowing gaze, Daniel's confusion deepening, I notice the wedding gift table near the entrance. My present sits there, wrapped in silver paper I spent an hour selecting, with a card containing words of forgiveness and love I'd written even after learning about the seating chart. Without hurry, I move toward the champagne table and select a glass with unhurried confidence. The cool stem between my fingers grounds me in the moment. I take a small sip, watching the scene unfold with a clarity I've never experienced before. Denise turns to Madison, her voice cutting through the murmurs of nearby guests. Is this why you tried to change my speech 3 times? She demands, no longer bothering with discretion. What exactly were you afraid I would say? Madison's desperate denial crumbles under pressure. It wasn't like that, I just thought with so many speeches already. I sip my champagne, watching the scene unfold with a strange sense of detachment, mixed with satisfaction. Some revenge is best served not cold, but with perfect timing. Have you ever witnessed someone who always got their way finally face consequences? What was that moment like? The truth revealing itself doesn't require my narration. It simply needs the right moment to emerge. I position myself carefully behind a large floral arrangement, close enough to hear Madison and Denise, but not so obvious that they notice me immediately. The string quartet has shifted to Vivaldi, providing just enough background noise to mask my presence while still allowing me to catch every heated word. "What else have you been saying about me?" Denise demands, her perfectly coiffed silver hair remaining immobile despite her agitation. Her diamond tennis bracelet catches the light as she gestures emphatically. "First my speech, now this?" Madison's eyes dart nervously around the gathering crowd. "Please, Denise, we can discuss this later." "Later?" Denise's voice rises, drawing the attention of nearby guests. "After I've made a fool of myself with that speech you approved, the one you secretly told your bridesmaids was trying too hard to be sentimental." I take a measured sip of champagne, allowing the dry bubbles to dance on my tongue. There's a strange calm settling over me as I watch 29 years of Madison's carefully constructed image begin to unravel. All it took was one truthful comment, planted at precisely the right moment. Mother swoops in, her lavender mother of the bride dress rustling as she positions herself between Madison and Denise. "Denise, you know how brides get before the ceremony. Madison adores you." The lie hangs in the air, as transparent as the crystal flutes in our hands. 2 weeks ago, Madison had texted me a 3-paragraph rant about how Denise was hijacking her wedding with outdated opinions and embarrassing stories. I noticed Daniel watching from near the ballroom entrance, his groomsmen shifting uncomfortably behind him. His gaze moves from Madison to me, then back again. Understanding dawns in his eyes, not anger, but recognition. I wonder how many times Madison has shown him one face, while revealing another elsewhere. "She's doing this on purpose to ruin my wedding." Madison suddenly points directly at me, mascara already beginning to smudge beneath her right eye. Her bridal robe slips off one shoulder as she gestures wildly. "She's jealous. She's always been jealous." Denise scoffs, the sound sharp as a blade. "Don't blame your sister for your own words, Madison." Guests are no longer pretending not to notice. Aunt Catherine from Michigan whispers to Uncle Paul. Cousin Bethany, who always idolized Madison, stands with her mouth slightly open. The murmurs spread like ripples in still water, the family narrative shifting before my eyes. The golden child's shine dulling with each passing second. Dad finally approaches, confusion evident in the deep creases of his forehead. What exactly is going on here? His voice carries the authority it always has, but for once, it's not directed at me. Daniel steps forward, taking Madison's elbow. "We need to talk. Now." His voice is quiet but firm as he guides her toward a side room. Madison throws one last desperate glance at our mother, who seems frozen in place. To my surprise, Dad moves to stand beside me. His cologne, the same old spice he's worn since I was a child, brings an unexpected lump to my throat. For the first time in memory, he isn't rushing to Madison's defense. Instead, his weathered hand rests lightly on my shoulder, a gesture so simple yet so profound, I almost lose my carefully maintained composure. "I always thought that seating arrangement was strange," comes a voice beside me. Aunt Judith, Dad's older sister, has appeared at my side. Her weathered hand pats my arm. "Your grandmother would have never stood for it. That woman knew family comes first, real family, not this performance." She gestures toward Madison with a subtle tilt of her head. 2 of my cousins drift closer, offering small nods of acknowledgement. Ryan's wife, Lisa, whispers, "Are you okay?" The support feels foreign after years of standing alone. The wedding coordinator approaches Madison's mother, clipboard clutched to her chest like armor. "Mrs. Carson, we're 30 minutes behind schedule." The officiant is asking about proceeding. Her words fade as Denise turns to her husband and son. "We need to have a discussion before this ceremony proceeds." Her tone leaves no room for argument. "Everything is fine." Madison's voice rises to a pitch I haven't heard since she was denied the lead in her high school musical. "We just need to start the ceremony." Daniel's response cuts through the chaos. "Not until we sort this out." 4 simple words that hold the weight of a future being reconsidered. I finish my champagne, savoring the last drop as I watch Mother's carefully constructed facade crumble. Her hands flutter uselessly at her sides, her practiced society smile replaced by naked panic. She sinks into a nearby chair, the elegant lines of her expensive dress now bunched unceremoniously. The woman who orchestrated every family gathering with precision can't control this unraveling moment. Madison's mascara has created delicate black rivers down her cheeks as she becomes increasingly frantic. She turns from person to person, first her bridesmaids, then Daniel, then back to Denise as if searching for someone who might still be under her spell. Her maid of honor stands awkwardly to the side, no longer sure of her role in this altered script. Across the room, Denise confers intensely with her husband, pointing emphatically toward Madison. Mr. Phillips, gray-haired and distinguished, nods gravely. Denise's brother joins them, leaning in to catch every word. The Phillips family has formed its own tight circle of whispered consultation. The wedding party has splintered before my eyes. Half of the bridesmaids hover near Madison, their matching pink robes clustered like cherry blossoms. Two others have drifted toward the outer edges of the room, exchanging meaningful glances. Daniel's groomsmen stand in an uncertain cluster, loyalty to their friend visibly wrestling with the awkwardness of the situation. One checks his watch, another loosens his tie. With unhurried steps, I make my way toward the gift table, where my carefully wrapped present sits among the others. The heavy cream envelope bearing my handwriting rests against the silver paper, containing the heartfelt letter I wrote before I knew the truth. "Are you leaving?" The wedding coordinator appears beside me, her professional mask slipping to reveal genuine concern. I offer her a small smile. "I'm just making one small adjustment." My hand reaches for my carefully wrapped present, the antique first edition of poetry I'd spent months hunting down because Madison once mentioned liking the author. Inside, my inscription wishes for a marriage built on honesty and mutual respect. How ironic those words seem now. Madison breaks away from Daniel, her perfectly manicured hand slipping from his arm as she hurries toward me. Tears glisten in her eyes, not the messy, genuine kind, but the calculated tears that have worked on our parents for 27 years. "Please, Nat," she says, voice quivering just enough. "This is my wedding day. Can't you just sit where we planned?" Mother appears at her side, a united front as always. Her expression is hardened from embarrassment to anger. "Natalie Carson, don't you dare ruin your sister's special day." Across the marble foyer, Denise stands with her arms crossed, no longer bothering to hide behind social niceties. The truth about Madison's text messages has stripped away that veneer. She watches our exchange with the sharp attention of someone tallying points in a game. "Either take your seat in the hallway," Madison whispers, "or everyone will know you're the villain who ruined my wedding." The string quartet has shifted to a more urgent melody, a subtle reminder that time is passing. Dad approaches, his face creased with concern rather than understanding. "Let's all calm down and proceed with the ceremony," he says, patting the air with his hands as if he could physically press down the tension rising between us. People are being seated. We're on a schedule. Behind him, guests filter into the ballroom, some casting curious glances our way. The wedding coordinator taps her clipboard nervously, checking her watch for the third time in as many minutes. Madison leans in, her expression hidden from the others. "I'll never forgive you if you ruin this for me," she hisses, breath warm against my ear. "Never." 29 years of these moments flash through my mind, the subtle threats, the emotional manipulation, the way our family always coalesces around Madison's desires. But something has fundamentally shifted inside me. The familiar weight of accommodation feels unbearable now. "Miss," the wedding coordinator interrupts, "we really need everyone seated now. We're already 20 minutes behind schedule." I straighten my spine and feel my voice emerge, calm and clear enough to carry. "I came here as family, Madison." The foyer quiets at my tone, which isn't loud but carries an unfamiliar authority. "But according to you," I continue, holding my sister's gaze steadily, "I'm not really immediate family anymore." I pause, feeling the weight of every eye on us, the suspended breath of the moment. "So, I should respect your wishes." Rather than moving toward the hallway table, I turn toward the gift table. My fingers find the package I placed there earlier, cream paper with a blue ribbon, containing the antique silver frame I spent months hunting down to hold Madison's wedding portrait. "Miss, please," the coordinator says, nearly jogging toward me. "We really need everyone seated right now." I lift my gift from the table, cradling it in both hands. Madison gasps, her perfect makeup finally cracking with genuine emotion. "Are you seriously taking your gift back? Why would I give a gift to a family that doesn't consider me part of it?" My voice remains even, almost gentle. From nearby comes an unexpected sound, Denise's audible snort of approval. Our eyes meet briefly across the foyer. I turn to face Denise directly. "Madison has quite a collection of text messages about you." The words land precisely where intended. Denise's eyebrows rise as she looks sharply at Madison. I shift my attention to Daniel, who stands frozen midway between his fiancée and his mother, and about her expectations for your marriage. His expression transitions from confusion to dawning realization. To my parents, who stand utterly still, and about how family obligations are just for show. I don't reveal everything, just enough to confirm there's more. The beauty of truth is that it needs no embellishment. Madison's face has drained of color, leaving her blush too bright against suddenly pale skin. Her hands flutter uselessly at her sides. I take a step toward the exit, then pause. These will be my last words to them for some time, and they deserve careful selection. "I hope your special day shows you exactly who you are," I tell Madison, meeting her eyes with newfound clarity. To Mother, whose rigid composure has finally begun to crack. "And I hope someday you realize what you've lost." Dad meets my gaze, and for once, I don't look away first. Silence in the face of cruelty is its own kind of betrayal. Then I turn, gift in hand, and walk toward the exit. My heels click distinctly against the marble floors, each step more confident than the last. The navy dress I saved for months to buy suddenly feels exactly right, the color of the deep water I'm navigating toward freedom. Behind me, the carefully orchestrated wedding dissolves into chaos. "I think we need to have a serious conversation before this proceeds," Denise announces to Daniel, her voice carrying. "Everything is fine." Madison's voice rises to a pitch I've never heard before, desperation cracking through her perfect facade. "We just need to start the ceremony." From the corner of my eye, I see Mother collapse into a nearby chair, her hand pressed against her mouth. Dad stands motionless, watching me leave with an expression I can't quite interpret, perhaps the first stirrings of understanding. The heavy glass doors swing open at my approach, and I step out into the late afternoon sunlight. The air feels different, somehow cleaner, lighter. As the doors close behind me, muffling the sound of raised voices, my phone buzzes in my purse. I pause on the steps, shifting my gift to one arm as I retrieve my phone. A text message from Daniel appears on the screen. "I had no idea. Can we talk?" I slip the phone back into my purse without responding. Some conversations belong to tomorrow. Today belongs to me. When you finally stand up to family mistreatment, it often affects more than just you. The ripples move outward, touching every relationship, revealing truths that can no longer be ignored. Autumn sunlight streams through my classroom windows, casting a warm glow across desks arranged in a careful semicircle. I smooth a fresh welcome back banner above my whiteboard, the fabric soft beneath my fingers. A month has passed since Madison's wedding, or rather, since the wedding that never happened. I step back to survey my domain. Classics line the shelves: Austen, Baldwin, Morrison interspersed with young adult novels my students actually want to read. Potted plants bring life to each corner. Yellow sticky notes with inspirational quotes dot the walls, ready to catch teenage eyes during moments of wandering attention. "Miss Carson?" I turn to find Principal Hoffman at the doorway, phone in hand. "Call for you in the office. Says it's important." I check my grandmother's watch, the one physical reminder I keep of the woman who saw me when no one else did. Still an hour before students arrive. "Thanks, I'll take it." Walking the empty hallway, my footsteps echo differently now. There's a lightness I hadn't noticed before, as if I've set down a heavy suitcase I'd been carrying so long, I'd forgotten it wasn't part of me. Natalie, your seat is here. Dad stands in the doorway of his house, gray hair neatly combed, eyes holding a question. Behind him, the dining room table gleams with the good china reserved for special occasions. His 70th birthday. I hesitate on the threshold, the memory of another seating arrangement still raw despite the weeks between then and now. Right next to mine, he adds, voice gentle, I saved it for you. I follow him inside, past framed family photos where I always stood slightly apart, into the familiar dining room now transformed by my new perspective. The table is set for 8, not the usual 20 plus of full family gatherings. No Madison, no mom hovering anxiously nearby. My place setting sits at Dad's right hand, my name written in Mom's careful calligraphy on a crisp place card. I should have spoken up years ago. Dad and I stand on the back porch after dessert, watching darkness settle over the yard where we once built a treehouse together. Just the two of us, while Mom took Madison shopping for dance recital costumes. You were always so capable, Natalie, so self-sufficient. His weathered hands gripped the porch railing. I told myself you didn't need the attention they did. That was wrong. I sip coffee gone lukewarm, tasting the bitterness and finding it doesn't hurt like it once would. What happened after I left? Everything fell apart. He turns to face me fully. Daniel postponed the wedding indefinitely. Said he needed time to think. Your mother blames everyone but herself. Madison refuses to attend any gathering where you might be present. And you? I ask. I'm learning to see what was always there. To Natalie Carson, who finally stopped setting herself on fire to keep others warm. Emma raises her glass, my other friends joining the toast. Our monthly dinner has become a lifeline of laughter and understanding. Tonight, I finally told them everything. I still can't believe you kept all those texts, Sophia says, refilling my wine. Strategic genius. Not genius, just self-preservation. I smile, memories of Madison's frantic face fading a little more each day. My therapist calls it evidence gathering. Apparently, I've been doing it for years without realizing. Speaking of evidence, James says, his hand finding mine under the table, I've been gathering some myself. Evidence that you're remarkable, Natalie Carson. His thumb traces circles on my palm, and I don't pull away. The envelope arrives on a Tuesday. Heavy cream stationery, my name in unfamiliar handwriting. Inside, an invitation to Madison and Daniel's rescheduled wedding, 3 months from now. A handwritten note falls into my lap. Natalie, this comes with Madison's reluctant permission, but my full intention. I've learned much about family these past weeks, about patterns that persist until someone finds the courage to break them. Your sister isn't ready to acknowledge her part. Perhaps she never will be. Whatever you decide, know that I respect the boundaries you've drawn. Daniel. I placed the invitation on my kitchen table, next to the birthday card my father sent last week. Not rushing, I consider what response honors both my his future. The gift I select is a beautiful serving platter. The card reads, some bridges shouldn't be rebuilt, but that doesn't mean you carry the ashes. I don't check the box for attending. To family, both the ones we're born with and the ones we choose. I raise my glass at the head of my dining table, Thanksgiving candles flickering across faces that reflect genuine warmth. My father sits opposite me, still learning to navigate holidays without Mom, who chose to spend the day with Madison. James stands beside me, steady and present. The empty chair between my father and my closest friend isn't an oversight. It's a reminder that some relationships remain works in progress, doors neither flung open nor permanently locked. Around us, conversation flows without the undercurrent of tension I once mistook for normal. No one here needs to raise their voice to be heard. No one disappears into the background. For the first time in my life, I'm hosting Thanksgiving, and every person at this table sees me completely.
I've never been one for birthday fuss. Yet here I sit at my kitchen table, surrounded by streamers and balloons in various shades of purple, my favorite color since college. 52 years old today. The thought catches in my throat like a fishbone. My fingers trace the edge of the tablecloth, a cream-colored one I bring out for special occasions. The grandfather clock in the hallway chimes 3 times, its familiar sound bouncing off walls covered with framed photos featuring 3 children at various ages, their smiles growing more confident with each passing year. The front door opens with a burst of April sunshine. Voices spill into the hallway familiar, beloved. "Aunt Linda?" Chloe calls out, though she hasn't needed to announce herself in this house for years. "In the kitchen," I answer, smoothing my hands over my slacks. They round the corner together, Chloe and Brooke, identical in height but nothing else, flanking their brother Logan, who towers over them both. My heart swells at the sight. Logan clutches his camera, already lifting it to capture my reaction to whatever surprise they've planned. "Happy birthday!" they chorus, Brooke bouncing on her toes like she still does when excited, even at 25. Chloe places a small box wrapped in silver paper before me. "Open it," she urges, her eyes gleaming. Something in her expression makes my stomach flutter. "What have you 3 done now?" I ask, picking up the box. It weighs almost nothing. Logan adjusts his camera angle. "Just open it, Aunt Linda." I slip my finger under the tape, carefully unwrapping rather than tearing the papera habit from years of making things last. Inside sits a velvet jewelry box. Too large for a ring, too small for a necklace. "This better not be expensive," I warn, though my voice lacks conviction. When I lift the lid, I expect earrings. Instead, a folded check rests inside. I squint at the numbers, certain I'm seeing wrong. $45,000? My name printed in Chloe's neat handwriting. "What is this?" My voice comes out a whisper. Brooke kneels beside my chair. "It's for you." I don't understand. My hands tremble so badly the check flutters. Logan lowers his camera. There's a card. I hadn't noticed it, tucked beneath the check. A simple white envelope with my name. Inside, 3 separate handwriting styles fill the card with messages of love. But one line stands out in bold letters across the top. "For the mother who chose us." My vision blurs. I can't accept this. "You can and you will," Chloe states firmly, her nurse's voice leaving no room for argument. 3 equal shares from our first big bonuses. We've been planning this for years. Brooke wraps her arms around my shoulders, her photographer's hands strong and steady against my shaking frame. "You gave up everything for us, Aunt Linda. Everything." "I didn't." "You did," Logan interrupts, setting his camera down to join the embrace. "Remember that tiny 1-bedroom apartment? You gave us your bed and slept on the pull-out sofa for months." The memory floods back 15 years earlier, standing in the doorway of my sister's chaotic apartment. 3 children huddled in corners like frightened animals. Amber screaming into her phone at her latest boyfriend. Empty cupboards. Hollow eyes. I'd brought dinner that night. Stayed to help with homework. Returned the next day. And the next. "You moved to that bigger place just so we'd have somewhere to stay on weekends," Brooke continues, her voice thick with emotion. "Any decent person would have done the same," I murmur. Chloe shakes her head. "No, they wouldn't have. You worked overtime for years to cover everything we needed. Our first real beds. School supplies. Braces for Logan. The electric bill when Mom forgot to pay it," Brooke adds. "That first time I called you from school," Chloe says quieter, her eyes meeting mine. "Remember? When I was crying in the bathroom because Mom had been gone 3 days? How could I forget? That call changed everything. My careful weekend arrangement transformed overnight into full-time caregiving. Somehow I'd balanced work, 3 growing children, and the constant fear my sister would reappear to undo any stability I'd created. "You never asked for this," I say, looking at the check again. Logan's jaw tightens. Neither did you. But you showed up anyway. Every single day. Even when Mom screamed at you that day, Brooke says, when we turned 18 and chose to live with you permanently. The memory stings. Amber's face contorted with rage. You've always been jealous because you couldn't have kids of your own. Her cruel words hurled like weapons. My quiet resolve as she stormed out. Logan following his sisters a year later. Amber blocking their numbers. Disappearing. Completely. This doesn't begin to repay what you did, Chloe says, squeezing my hand. But it's a start. I stare at the check, at their earnest faces, at the life we've built together. I never asked for anything in return, certainly not money. So why does this gift feel like both a blessing and a warning? And who is watching from the shadows as my life is about to change again? I post the photo of the check on Facebook before I can talk myself out of it. My fingers hover over the screen as I type. Proud beyond words of Chloe, Brooke, and Logan, humbled by their generosity. Nothing about the amount. Nothing that hints at the 15 years behind this moment. Just a simple acknowledgement of their kindness. The comments roll in immediately. Hearts, congratulations, questions I ignore about what they gave me. I close the app and set my phone face down on the kitchen counter. 20 minutes later, it buzzes. A text notification from a number I blocked 3 years ago. My coffee mug stops halfway to my lips. I know who it is before I tap to read it. The message appears like a snake slithering across my screen. I see my babies are doing well. We should talk. My stomach twists into a tight knot. Amber. I set down my coffee with a shaking hand and open Facebook again. I haven't searched for her profile in years, not since she blocked the kids and disappeared after Logan chose to live with me. My sister's page loads with a profile picture I don't recognize. Amber smiling with professionally styled hair, wearing clothes I've never seen. I scroll down and freeze. Post after post about her children. Photos she's pulled from their public profiles. Statuses claiming pride in her nurse, her photographer, and her software engineer. Comments from people I've never met offering congratulations on raising such successful kids. The room tilts sideways. She's been watching them all along, creating a fictional history where she never abandoned them, where their achievements belong to her. The phone rings in my hand. A local number. My mother. Linda? Margaret's voice sounds older than the last time we spoke 2 years ago. I saw your post about the children's gift. How generous of them. I press my lips together, waiting for what comes next. You should call your sister, she says, her tone shifting to that familiar guilt-inducing cadence. Family should stick together, especially when there's money involved. The wall clock ticks loudly in the silence that follows. Mom, I need to go. Linda. I hang up before she can finish. The phone immediately buzzes with another text from Amber. Mom says it was quite a gift they gave you. Must be nice living off my children's success. My hands curl into fists. Living off their success? After years of minimum payments on credit cards maxed out for school clothes, birthday presents, and braces? After vacations I never took, and promotions I couldn't accept because they required travel? The doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I see Barbara's familiar silhouette, a bottle of wine in one hand. I open the door to find her concerned face, and Frank standing behind her, his gray hair wind-tousled. I saw Amber commenting on your post, Barbara says, walking past me into the house. Figured you could use reinforcements. Frank follows with a small nod. And perhaps some legal advice. Thought it might be prudent. Legal advice? My voice sounds strange to my own ears. Barbara uncorks the wine while Frank settles at my kitchen table. I've seen this before, he says, his former attorney's caution evident in his measured tone. Money changes things. Brings out the sharks. My phone buzzes again. Chloe's name appears on screen. Aunt Linda? Mom just messaged me on Instagram. Did you know she's been following us? Before I can answer, another call beeps through Brooke this time. The evening dissolves into a blur of calls and messages. My coworker Diane texts that my sister came to the clinic asking for me. Logan reports a friend request from Amber on every platform. My cousin reveals she's been keeping Amber updated about the kids for years. Later, alone in my darkened kitchen, I listen to the voicemail Amber left while I was talking to the kids. Linda. Her voice oozes sweetness that turns my stomach. Those kids owe me. I carried them. I raised them until you manipulated them against me. I deserve a share of whatever they gave you. 20,000 should cover it. Call me to arrange payment. I drop the phone like it's burning my fingers. The next morning, I arrive at work to find my boss waiting. Your sister was here again, she says quietly. I told her you were in meetings all day. By afternoon, my cousin calls in tears. Aunt Margaret says you're manipulating the kids for their money. She's telling everyone who'll listen. At the family potluck that Sunday, the first I've attended in months, Amber appears like a ghost from the past. Conversation stops as she walks straight toward me. There she is, she announces, voice carrying across Aunt Ruth's backyard. The sister who stole everything from me. Eyes turn my way. Some sympathetic, others curious, a few suspicious. Later, Frank shows me what he found online. Amber's bankruptcy filing from last year. A foreclosure notice. Collection agency reports. That night, I check my voicemail one last time before bed. You'll regret keeping what's mine, Amber's voice hisses through the speaker. Those kids, that money, all of it should have been mine. As the family I once knew turns against me, I face a choice. Fight for the truth or surrender to keep the peace. But there's one piece of evidence Amber doesn't know exists, something that could change everything. The question isn't whether I have it, but whether I have the courage to use it. My hands shake as I gather my purse from the passenger seat. Through the windshield, I spot Amber waiting by the entrance of Cornerstone Coffee, her hair freshly colored and styled in a way that screams expensive salon. I take 3 deep breaths, just like I taught Logan to do before his baseball games when the pressure built too high. She sees me approaching and waves with exaggerated enthusiasm, as if we're long-lost friends reuniting instead of sisters who haven't spoken in 7 years. The last time I saw her, she called me a barren, jealous thief. Linda, she stands to hug me. Her perfume smothers me, something floral and much too strong. You look exactly the same. Not a compliment. I slide into the wooden chair across from her, keeping my purse in my lap rather than hanging it on the chair back. Hello, Amber. I took the liberty of ordering you a Kai tea latte. She gestures to the steaming mug in front of me. You still drink those, right? I haven't had chai in years, but she wouldn't know that. Thank you. So, she begins, leaning forward with practiced sincerity. I've missed you. Missed the kids, too. They're adults now, I say quietly. Not kids anymore. Amber waves her hand dismissively. They'll always be my babies. The words twist in my stomach. Babies she left hungry. Babies she forgot at school. Babies who jumped when doors slammed. I sip the chai to keep from speaking too quickly. I saw Chloe's post about her graduation. She continues. Chief resident. And Brooke's photography exhibit. I keep tabs on them, you know. Logan's a little harder to track online. Always was my quiet one. My quiet one. I grip the mug tighter. Look, Linda. I know things got heated years ago. Her voice drops to a theatrical whisper. We both said things we didn't mean. I didn't say anything that day. I stood silent while she screamed and pointed and finally stormed out, slamming my front door so hard that a framed photo of the twins' 16th birthday fell and cracked. "I'm not here to rehash the past," I tell her, setting the mug down. "What do you want, Amber?" Her smile falters slightly before reassembling itself. Direct as ever. "Fine." She pulls a folded paper from her purse. "I've been thinking about the kids' futures. Their inheritance." "Inheritance?" "From me," she clarifies, sliding the paper across the table. "I'm their mother." I unfold what appears to be a handwritten settlement proposal. My vision tunnels as I scan terms like maternal rights, percentage allocation, and family reconciliation fund. At the bottom, a figure, $20,000. "You want me to pay you $20,000? The words taste metallic in my mouth. "It's only fair," she shrugs, sipping her latte. "They're giving you all this money, but I carried them for 9 months. Twice, in the twins' case." Yesterday, Frank sat at my kitchen table, reviewing receipts I'd kept for 15 years. School supplies, doctor co-pays, clothes, sports equipment, prom tickets, college application fees. The calculator total, $189,436, not counting the second bedroom I maintained for 7 years before they moved in permanently, or the countless nights of lost sleep. The money was a gift. I fold the paper and slide it back. The children are adults. They've made their choices. "Because you poisoned them against me." Her voice rises slightly. A man at the next table glances over. I think of the journals stacked in my closet. 13 volumes documenting everything from first tooth losses to driver's license tests. The good, the bad, the mundane miracles of watching children grow. Not for this moment I never imagined needing to prove my devotion, but because someday they might want to know their own history. "I never spoke against you," I say truthfully. "Not once." "Then why did they choose you?" She leans forward, mask slipping. "Those ungrateful brats owe me everything. Their very existence." The elderly couple 2 tables over stop their conversation, heads turning toward us. I stand up, surprisingly steady. "Thank you for the tea, Amber. I need to go now." "Sit down," she hisses. "We're not finished." "We are." I gather my purse. "I won't apologize for loving those kids." Her chair scrapes against the floor as she jumps up. "You think you're so perfect, don't you? Saint Linda, the childless savior. You have no idea what I've been through." I pause, one hand on my chair back. "Neither do they, because you weren't there to tell them." "How dare you!" Her voice rises to a shout. "After everything I've done for—" "Miss." The barista approaches, concern etched on her young face. "Is everything okay over here?" "Fine," I murmur, stepping away from the table. "She's trying to steal my children's money," Amber announces to the now silent coffee shop. I walk toward the door, my heart hammering against my ribs. "Linda!" she calls after me. "You always run from confrontation. Some things never change." Outside, the April sunshine feels incongruously bright. I make it to my car before the shaking starts, my hands fumbling with keys until I drop them on the pavement. "Need help?" I look up to see Carla Peterson, who taught both twins in 4th grade. She bends to retrieve my keys. "Saw that scene through the window," she says, handing them to me. Amber always did have a flair for drama. "You remember her?" I ask, surprised. "Remember all my students' parents?" She smiles. "The ones who showed up, anyway. You never missed a conference or event. For any of those 3. My phone buzzes in my purse. Frank. "How did it go?" Then Barbara. "Lunch at my place. No arguments. I've gathered reinforcements. Before I can respond, another message appears from my boss. Take all the time you need. We've got you covered here. And finally, in the group text, the children share with me, we stand with Aunt Linda, always. I look up at Carla, who waits patiently beside my car. Are you busy for lunch? Not anymore, she says firmly. As I drive us to Barbara's house, I remember something Chloe once said during her first year of college, after acing an ethics exam she'd worried about for weeks. She called me at midnight, voice bright with triumph. You taught us that truth always has its day. Now, that day is coming, and Amber has no idea what's waiting for her. Would the truth be enough to end this once and for all? I glance at Carla in my passenger seat, then at my phone where messages of support continue to appear. For the first time since Amber's return, I feel the corners of my mouth lifting into something like hope. I spread the papers across my kitchen table, each stack meticulously organized. Medical bills with my signature on the payment line. School registration forms listing me as guardian. Birthday cards addressed to Aunt Linda in childish handwriting that grew steadier over the years. Frank peers at them through wire-rimmed glasses, his legal pad filling with notes. You've kept excellent records, he says, tapping his pen against the yellow paper. Never thought I'd need them. My voice catches. Outside, April rain taps against the window, matching the rhythm of my anxiety. People rarely do, Frank replies, his voice gentle but firm. But documentation like this tells a story Amber can't rewrite. The doorbell rings. My stomach clenches, but it's just Chloe arriving early. She hangs her raincoat by the door, water droplets darkening the wood floor. Sorry, I'm dripping everywhere, she says, bending to wipe the floor with her sleeve. Leave it, I tell her, recognizing her nervous energy. How did your shift go? Her face darkens. Amber showed up at the hospital, claimed chest pains to get admitted to my floor. The room goes still. What happened? She waited until I was alone, then suddenly felt better. Said she wanted to talk about our future as a family. Chloe's fingers drum against her thigh. I called security. The front door opens again. Brooke bursts in without knocking, her camera bag slung over her shoulder. Logan follows, shaking rain from his hair like a puppy. She came to the studio. Brooke announces without preamble. Tried to book a family portrait session, if you can believe it. Logan's jaw tightens. Blocked her at my apartment building. Told the doorman not to let her up. We gather around the kitchen table. The evidence of our lives together spread before us. 4 mugs of coffee steam in the cool air. This feels like a war council. She's getting desperate, I say, pulling a folder from beneath the others. This came yesterday. Inside, a printout of an email Amber sent, threatening to expose unspecified family secrets if I don't convince the kids to share their blessing. Her finger must have slipped on the send button, carbon copying my entire contact list, including my boss and several neighbors. Classic Amber, Logan mutters. Can't even blackmail properly. Frank adjusts his glasses. We should discuss your options. We've already decided, Chloe says, her nurse's voice leaving no room for argument. She places a small video camera on the table. We're telling our story. All of it. My heart pounds. Are you sure once this is public? It was already public the moment Amber started her campaign, Brooke interrupts. Her photographer's eye surveys the room, likely framing our story in her mind. We're just providing the actual footage. I've spent 15 years protecting these children, shielding them from their mother's chaos. The thought of them exposing their wounds publicly terrifies me. Logan places his hand over mine. We're not children anymore, Aunt Linda. For hours we sit at that kitchen table. One by one, they speak their truth into the camera. Chloe describes sleeping in her clothes in case they needed to leave quickly. Brooke recalls birthday parties Amber promised but never delivered. Logan's voice breaks when he recounts waiting outside school for hours, long after other parents had collected their children. I tell my part too. The late-night calls, the empty refrigerator I'd fill each week, the school conferences where I sat alone, explaining to teachers that their mother was unavailable. We finish as afternoon fades to evening. My throat feels raw, my eyes burn. But something else burns too, a fierce certainty that we've done the right thing. It's done, Logan says, stopping the recording. My phone pings with a notification. Barbara has sent a link to a GoFundMe page Amber created this morning. Help a mother reclaim her stolen inheritance. We gather around my screen, reading Amber's manufactured tale of woe. According to her, I manipulated her children during a vulnerable time, ultimately stealing both their affection and their money. The comments, Brooke whispers. I scroll down, bracing for public judgment. Instead, I find a flood of support. Linda Carlson coached my son's baseball team when no other parent volunteered. She never missed a game even though her nephew was on a different team. Miss Carlson sat with my daughter at the hospital when I couldn't get off work. She wasn't even related to us. Linda bought my twins' school supplies anonymously every September. She thought no one knew. Teachers, coaches, neighbors, people I barely remember helping years ago. They all remember me. This is backfiring spectacularly, Frank says with quiet satisfaction. My phone rings again. Margaret's name flashes on the screen. The first time she's called directly instead of leaving manipulative voicemails. I put it on speaker. Linda? Her voice sounds brittle. Perhaps we should discuss this situation privately, family to family. Logan snorts. Chloe raises an eyebrow. Brooke stifles a laugh. I am discussing it with my family, I reply, looking at the three faces that matter most. They're sitting right here. Later that night, after everyone leaves, I sit alone scrolling through the comments still flooding Amber's fundraiser. Someone has reported it for fraudulent claims. The page disappears as I watch. On impulse, I open my photos and find a picture from years ago, twins' 12th birthday. They're blowing out candles on a homemade cake, Logan photobombing from behind. My arms encircle them all. I post it with a simple caption. Some families are born, some are chosen. I'm grateful every day for the family that chose me. Within minutes, my quiet corner of social media explodes with hearts and supportive messages. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Amber's boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend, according to his message. He wants me to know he had no idea about the children's true story. The cracks in Amber's facade are spreading. I close my laptop, suddenly exhausted but strangely peaceful. The truth is finally emerging, and I think the worst might be over. But I've underestimated Amber before. She's always been willing to burn everything down rather than admit defeat. What will a cornered woman with nothing to lose do next? And am I prepared for the final confrontation? The grandfather clock chimes in the hallway, a steady reminder that time moves forward, even when we're afraid of what comes next. I stand in Margaret's driveway, keys clutched in my palm so tightly the metal bites into skin. Behind me, 3 car doors slam in quick succession. You don't have to do this, Chloe says, adjusting her white coat. She came straight from the hospital, still wearing her professional armor. Logan towers beside her, camera bag slung over one shoulder. We can still leave. No. The word comes out steadier than I feel. Some things need facing. Brooke links her arm through mine. Then we face them together. Margaret's colonial house looms before us, the gathering place for every holiday until Amber's final explosion 3 years ago. Yellow light spills from windows onto manicured bushes. Cars line the circular drive. Everyone came to witness the reckoning. Ready? I ask, though none of us truly are. The front door opens before we reach it. Margaret stands framed in light, her face a careful mask of grandmotherly concern. Linda. Her gaze slides to the children behind me. I thought we agreed. I agreed to come, I say. I never agreed to come alone. Her lips purse, but she steps aside. The living room falls silent as we enter. Familiar faces, turn cousins, aunts, Margaret's church friends. Amber sits in my father's old armchair, positioned like royalty holding court. My babies, she breathes, half rising. The twins stiffen on either side of me. Logan moves slightly forward, a physical barrier between his sisters and the woman who abandoned them. Please, everyone sit. Margaret gestures to the arranged circle of chairs. We're here to heal our family. I take a seat directly across from Amber. The children settle beside me, a united front. Logan places his camera bag on the floor, removes a small recorder, and sets it on the coffee table. What's that? Amber demands. Documentation. Logan answers, voice flat. Everyone should know they're being recorded. Margaret's hand flies to her throat. That's not necessary. It's perfectly legal with announcement, I say, and completely necessary. Silence thickens the air until Amber leans forward, tears glistening. I've missed my children so much. Her voice breaks perfectly. Every day without them has been 3,217. Chloe interrupts. Amber blinks. What? Days, Chloe clarifies. Since you last saw us. 9 years minus the 2 days you showed up at my graduation and Logan's baseball championship. You kept count? Amber's laugh sounds brittle. Linda kept count, Brooke says, in her journals. I reach into my bag and withdraw 3 leather-bound books, one for each child. Every milestone, every achievement, every fever and nightmare, everything you missed. Margaret rises shakily. We're not here to assign blame. We're family. We forgive and forget. Forgiveness requires acknowledgement, I say. Has Amber acknowledged abandoning her children? Or stealing their support checks? Or leaving them alone for days without food? The room stirs uncomfortably. Cousin Betty studies her hands. Uncle Paul suddenly finds the ceiling fascinating. She's exaggerating, Amber says, waving dismissively. And regardless, they've turned out fine. Look at them, successful, wealthy. That money they gave you. Her eyes harden. Family shares blessings. I almost laugh. Is that what this is about? Not 9 years of absence, but $45,000? There are family secrets you wouldn't want exposed, Linda. Amber's voice drops to a threatening whisper. Things nobody knows about you. The old fear rises the need to keep peace, to protect everyone from unpleasantness. But it dissolves when I feel Chloe's hand cover mine. I stand slowly. I kept your children fed when there was nothing in your cupboards. I attended every parent-teacher conference while you were finding yourself with different men. I worked overtime for Chloe's med school applications, Brooke's first professional camera, the emergency room bill when Logan broke his arm skiing. Each child rises beside me, one by one. Aunt Linda helped me write my personal statement for medical school, Chloe says, her voice carrying the quiet authority she uses with difficult patients. She saved for 6 months to buy my first real camera, Brooke adds, then drove me to every sunrise shoot, no matter how early. When I broke my arm, Logan continues, she sat with me all night in the ER, then rearranged her entire schedule to drive me to physical therapy twice a week. I opened the journals, placing them on the coffee table. Here's the evidence. 9 years showing up, of being there. Beside the journals, I lay out old bank statements, school photos, birthday cards the children made me, a folder of letters sent to Amber that came back unopened. Amber's face contorts, the mask slipping. "You were always just the backup mother," she spits. The consolation prize nobody wanted. The words hang in the air, the final cruelty laid bare for all to witness. "No," Chloe says, her voice clear and strong. "She was the only mother we had. The only one who wanted us," Brooke adds. "The only one who stayed," Logan finishes. Tears slide down Margaret's cheeks as 9 years of willful blindness crumble. The family sits stunned by truths laid bare in their carefully maintained fiction. I gather the journals and photographs. The children collect the evidence of our shared life. "We're done here," I say simply. We walk out together, steps in perfect rhythm, leaving behind the house where lies lived so comfortably for decades. The night air feels clean in my lungs. As we reach the cars, I wonder if freedom from the past can truly heal wounds this deep. And what will I build with this unexpected second chance? Purple streamers flutter from the ceiling fan, casting dancing shadows across faces that have grown more familiar to me than my own reflection. At 53, I'm a year older and miles wiser, seated at a cherry wood table that bears none of the scars of my old kitchen set. "To Linda," Chloe raises her glass, the engagement ring on her finger catching the afternoon light. "Not just to another trip around the sun, but to new horizons." Behind her, Logan adjusts his camera on a tripod while his girlfriend Amanda arranges plates of finger foods. Brooke and her partner Sam hang the last of the decorations of banner, reading "Happy Birthday, Mom" in hand-painted letters. "You're making too much fuss," I say, but my protest lacks conviction. The envelope in my hands contains retirement projections based on the careful investments I've made over decades. Not rich by any measure, but enough. Finally, enough. "Open it already," Logan urges, the same impatience he showed as a child when waiting for Christmas morning. I slide my finger under the flap. "I've been thinking about that cross-country trip." "The one you've been planning since we were kids?" Brooke asks, settling into the chair beside me. "The National Parks tour?" "Yellowstone first," I nod, unfolding the papers. "Then Zion, Grand Canyon." "Alone?" Frank asks from across the table, his question hanging soft in the air between us. After a year of coffee dates and gallery visits, the word carries weight beyond its single syllable. "Not necessarily," I answer, meeting his eyes briefly before looking away. Barbara snorts into her wine glass. "About time." While they laugh, I cross to the bookshelf where an old photograph sits in a silver frame. Me at 37, standing in front of the apartment building where everything changed. Dark circles under my eyes tell the story that my forced smile tries to hide bone-deep exhaustion, fear, uncertainty. "I found this yesterday," I tell them, running my finger along the frame. "Look how tired I was." "Look how strong you were," Chloe corrects, taking the photo. "God, I remember that day. You'd worked a double shift to afford the security deposit. Worth every minute," I whisper. Brooke appears at my side, arms sliding around my waist. "I've been thinking about what you said in therapy last month. About feeling like you'd lost years of your life." "I was wrong," I admit. "I didn't lose anything. I gained everything." Logan joins us, his height still startling sometimes. "To the woman who showed us what family really means." He echoes Chloe's earlier toast, his voice catching. My phone buzzes on the table. Margaret's name appears on the screen, her third message this month. Last week she asked if we could meet for coffee. After a year of silence, my mother wants reconciliation. The thought no longer fills me with dread. "Is that her again?" Chloe asks, protective instinct flashing. "She can wait," I say, turning the phone face down. Today is ours. The room fills with colleagues who became friends, neighbors who became family. Frank's hand finds mine under the table as Barbara launches into the story of how I started the support group for unofficial parents at the community center. 14 members now, she announces proudly. Linda's changing lives out there. Just sharing what I learned, I demur, though something in me has stopped apologizing for making a difference. Speaking of sharing, Logan says, gesturing toward my garden visible through the French doors, you promised to tell us about your memoir. Just a few chapters so far, I say. The writing class is helping. Later, as twilight paints the sky in shades of lavender and gold, I rock gently on the porch swing. The contrast isn't lost on me how many nights I sat alone in this very spot, wondering if I was enough. Tonight, laughter spills through open windows as Frank helps Barbara demonstrate what they swear is not a dance but rather rhythmic movement therapy. My phone chimes 3 times in quick succession. Love you, Mom. From Chloe. Love you, Mom. From Brooke. Love you, Mom. From Logan. My fingers hover over the screen before typing. Love you more. Always have. Always will. Through the window, I glimpse the framed check on my mantel, positioned beside our latest family portrait. The sight fills me with a certainty I've earned through years of showing up when others walked away. You don't need to share blood to share love. Linda, Barbara calls from inside. You're missing Frank's impression of your garden club president. I turn toward the house, toward the light, toward home.